Hello everybody, my name is Hot Hands. A video I've been really looking forward to making is an operator combinations video. Basically, the idea is to try to match an operator's uniform and headgear to their weapon skin and their attachment skin. Over the past couple of weeks, I have slowly been gathering items for every single operator and trying to match a weapon skin and attachment skin to their uniforms. And I'm finally at a spot where I feel like I want to show you guys what I have. And this will just be a fun little showcase. It's not going to be super in-depth or anything. I'll show you what the names of the uniform is and the headgear is. Do a little 360 preview of the uniform, and then we'll kind of just take a look at the weapon skin. This is really just for entertainment purposes. I'm also not going to include prices on this one because there's just an absurd number of items in this list. So I thought this would be fun. But let's go ahead and hop into the attackers. The first attacker we have is Striker. I haven't actually gotten anything for Striker or for Sentry, but he's just wearing his basic uniform right now. He's got the first class burglary weapon skin and the world class apparatus attachment skin. Just because the white and the weapon skin pretty much matches the uniform, and the gold accents I think match the brown accents in his kit. Next up, we've got Sledge. I'll do a little 360 of his uniform and his headgear here. As a general rule of thumb, I really like when uniforms change the shape of the operator. And also, if they wear masks, I like to either remove the mask, or if they don't wear masks, to put one on. I like to stray away from default skins as much as possible, and I think this one does a good job for Sledge. The uniform is called the Physical Drill, and the headgear is called Steady Breath. It's just this little cap. As far as the weapon skin goes, we have the Signature 6 2019 weapon skin. I think it matches the stripes pretty nicely in his jacket, and the little burst of color down here matches his mask. Pretty neat combo in my opinion. Next up, we've got Thatcher. Thatcher's got this green uniform. The uniform is called the Auxiliary Unit, and it's just this like sweater and tactical pants combination with a tan little carrier here. He's still got his bulky vest, but he's got looks like a magazine carrier right here in the front. Not quite a flick, but I don't know, maybe it is. The headgear here is the mud-caked headgear. It just removes his mask and makes him look dirty, gives him some scruffy hair and a beard, which is pretty cool. His weapon skin here is the ancient marble weapon skin with the brown attachment skin. Really just trying to match this tan little magazine carrier or flick or whatever on his kit here, and I think it does a pretty good job. Next up, we've got Ash. This uniform is called Field Prep. It's just this casual uniform, looks pretty cool. She also has the signature like red Ash boots that she usually wears. And then her headgear is called Target Practice. This just removes her hat and gives her safety goggles and gives her headphones, which I think looks pretty neat. I like this one a lot. For the weapon skin, we have the Ruby weapon skin and the World Class Apparatus attachment skin. We're just trying to match her red hair and red boots. I think with her red hair, it all just gets tied in pretty nicely. Next up, we've got Thermite. This uniform is called Compatriot. This is pretty much a default skin, and typically I try to stay away from recolors when I can, but I really liked the hood, and the Compatriot uniform matches the ride or die headgear so nicely. Thermite doesn't normally wear a hood. He usually wears this bulky little helmet. This headgear also reduces the profile of his goggles, which I think looks pretty cool and gives him a cool face mask. As far as the weapon skin goes, he's got the Explosive Surprise set. So he's got the Explosive Surprise weapon skin and the Explosive Surprise attachment skin. The colors don't exactly match. The blue, I think, complements the dark blue, and the orange complements this like reddish kind of orangish backpack he's got on. Also thematically, you know, Thatcher is an explosive operator, so I think the skin just kind of makes sense, and I think it all comes together really nicely. I love this set. He does have some other uniforms that are pretty cool, but I chose this one. Next up, we have Twitch. This Twitch uniform is called the Wolfguard Standard. It is just pretty much a recolor once again. It's this blue, white, and sort of black or dark gray kind of kit that she's got going on. She's rocking the game face headgear. The reason I wanted to do this headgear is because it's one of the only headgears in the shop right now, or on the R6 marketplace, that removes this like odd mask. I've always thought that this mask looked kind of strange. Like, why is this material different? Why is her mouth showing? I don't know, just it always seemed odd to me. And so I thought this one was pretty cool. I typically wear my hats backwards anyways, like in real life. So maybe I'm biased for this, but I don't know. And so I think all the blues kind of tie each other in together nicely. And the weapon skin here is the Azure Guard set. You can see the Wolfguard Standard little emblem here on her chest, as well as on the weapon skin. And yeah, it's all just blue, white, and gray. Next up, we have Montagne. There are not a lot of skins in the R6 marketplace that change his like shape. But when I found his headgear, oh, by the way, this is called the Illustrious Knight. His headgear is called, I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'm not gonna even try. I'm gonna butcher it like super, super bad. But this is the headgear up here on the left. When I saw this headgear, I tried finding a uniform that matched it, because the default headgear also is just odd. Like his visor's kind of up, but it's also kind of down. Weird that it's halfway. Like this neck gear that he's got going on is super bulky, and I think it makes his profile look kind of odd. And so when I saw this headgear that reduces that profile pretty significantly and puts his visor down, I was like, okay, yeah, 100% we're gonna run with this one. It's kind of hard to see, so I'll show you the weapon skin that he's rocking. This is the Thermal Antipodes weapon skin with the Wings of Paradise attachment skin. The Wings of Paradise attachment skin's typically like pink, purple, yellow, but on pistols the barrel is pretty much entirely yellow. So it kind of blends in together really nicely. I did end up also getting his Black Ice shield, which looks pretty cool. I don't know why this looks so wonky like this. But yep, there he is. He's got his Black Ice and he's got his cool like knight armor on. It's not my absolute favorite set, but I did what I could for Montagne and I'm happy with where he's at. Next up we have Glaz. This uniform is pretty much a standard uniform with a little bit of a design on it. I think this was a seasonal, like the Blood Orchid season. I think that's what it was called. This is a Blood Orchid uniform. And then for his helmet, he's got the Famine helmet, or I guess mask here, which I think looks pretty creepy, kind of spooky looking. This is what his default headgear looks like, so we're just basically giving him a freaky mask. And I think the mask mixed in with his uniform, the Blood Orchid uniform, it just all comes together really, really, really nicely. The weapon skin is the Skull Rain weapon skin, which is this like three-dimensional skull sort of weapon skin that goes everywhere. It looks really cool when you're like shining it in the light because all the little skulls look like they have dimension on them. And then the Gossamer Demise attachment skin, which is this white and light gray sort of mix. It goes really, really nicely with this uniform in my opinion. And yep, so there's Glaz. Next up we have Fuze. I had a hard time finding a cool uniform that changed Fuze's shape, so I opted just to go with like a kind of wacky looking design here. I think this uniform is pretty interesting. The Gargantuan Capture. I think it's a cool uniform. It's just kind of interesting to look at, even though it's maybe a little noisy. And typically we don't get to see Fuze's face because he's always wearing a helmet like this. And so I was looking for something that would show his face. I found the loose Ushanka headgear, and this just reveals what his face looks like. And I think on this uniform, it all just comes together. The weapon skin here is the Saber Carve weapon skin. This was a seasonal at one point, so it won't go on everything, but it's this like light gray, sort of muted gold, which sort of matches the accents in like, the buckle and his gloves. This brown here also matches the color in his gloves and his pants, and the Wooden Flow attachment skin, which I think just complements the grays in the uniform. I don't know, I think it all comes together pretty cool. And that's Fuze. Next up we have Blitz. So when I was looking for a uniform for Blitz, this was one that changed his shape pretty dramatically. It's his competitor Blitz 2020 uniform. This is typically what he looks like, and I always found him to look super like obnoxiously bulky, especially with his vest sort of fraying out here. And like, look how small his waist looks like compared to his waist. I always thought that was weird. Also, the really bulky shoulder pads are odd in my opinion. This uniform minimizes that profile quite a bit. It's also got the cool Blitz name on the back, which is pretty neat. This is of course a full set, so his headgear is also the competitor Blitz 2020 headgear. This removes his bulky helmet, which he normally has, and gives him low profile headphones, and we get to see his face. As far as his weapon goes, he's rocking the Signature 621 weapon skin and the Signature 621 attachment skin, just to kind of go with the whole like competitor vibe that he's got going on right now. I think this is a really neat skin. And I was also able to pick up his Black Ice shield. Had to pick this up because I thought it was awesome. He's also wearing like cold weather gear, and so I don't know, the icy shield and the cold weather gear, I think it all just kind of comes together. Next up we have IQ. I think her vests and the like shin guards or whatever going on here look really cool. The helmet and the gray sweatshirt also match pretty nicely, and it's also just like a casual look for her. This is what her default uniform looks like. So she typically does wear the like blue jeans, but she's got this bulky vest, and so this gives her like skinnier jeans, I guess, and cool like futuristic style vest, and it's really dope. Also gives her some really cool looking gloves. This uniform is called the Electrical Engineer, and the headgear is called the Mica Standard. It's just this like ACH like combat helmet with a attached headset, which I think is super, super cool. Also gives her a cool face mask, and I think it just ties in the whole uniform. The weapon skin is the Akino Tsuru weapon skin and the Piercing Rays attachment skin. Mostly black, I think, matches her vest and her face mask really nicely. And then the red, orange, and black match the German flag on her shoulder. And also, I just think this is a really cool weapon skin. So I think this whole uniform comes together really, really nicely. Next up, we have Buck. This is a recolor of his default skin, which I think is okay in this instance. I didn't have a lot of operators that had sort of a like gritty wood looking feel to them. And so when I saw this uniform for Buck and I saw this headgear for him, I was like, oh man, that looks so cool. The uniform is called the Resourceful Awareness, and the headgear is called the Peak Excursion. Gives him some like slightly tinted goggles with this like big old brown headband and his hair kind of flowing back behind him. I think looks pretty cool. Also a scruffy little beard. This is what it looks like together. The weapon skin here is the Fable Shapings weapon skin and the Wooden Flow attachment skin. All the browns just go together super nicely in my opinion. I think this one's super cool. So yeah, there's Buck. Next up, we've got Blackbeard. This is a recolor of his regular skin. This is typically what he looks like. He's got this like multicam pattern going on. Something I never liked about this multicam, and maybe it's just me, but the design of the multicam here is so tiny, which maybe I'm just being like super duper nitpicky about that because it's like, who cares? Typically the multicam pattern is much thicker, like the designs, the patterns are a lot thicker. Not that it matters, but you know. So when I was looking for something for Blackbeard, I thought it would be cool to get something that doesn't have to be crazy different. I wanted to remove his camouflage. And when I saw this one, it's pretty casual looking. It's just got like a denim shirt and tactical pants on, a little bit dirty on the lower legs here. I was like, yeah, this looks really cool. It's like almost undercover. It's literally called Informal Cover-Up. That's the uniform name. For his headgear, we've removed his helmet, given him some goggles and a headset and a big old scruffy black beard. I think he's always had that though. Yeah, this is his regular headset. When I was looking for a headgear for him, I really wanted to remove his helmet. And so I went with the Mean Business headgear, and I think it looks pretty cool. As far as the weapon skin goes, he's rocking the Thermal Antipodes weapon skin and the Hot and Spicy attachment skin, but he's not actually using an optic right now. I typically don't run an optic with Blackbeard just so I can get that ADS time down. I liked this weapon skin for this uniform though, because the blue over here by the brace where he puts the weapon against his shoulder is blue, and it looks like it kind of fades into orange as it gets further away from him. Like if we let him do this animation, I think that looks really cool. Maybe not the perfect match, but I was always, this is my favorite weapon skin in the game at the moment, and I'm always looking for opportunities to use it. So I put it on Blackbeard, and I think it looks dope. Next up, we have Capitao. This is essentially a recolor of his default skin. This is what his default skin looks like. It's just black. So we've essentially just made it like this sort of OD green. This is what the 360 of the skin looks like. Pretty cool. This is called the Bope Jungle Fatigues. And the helmet is called the Obscure. When I was looking for something for Capitao, again, always looking to change the shape of the operator, and I saw this cool looking helmet with this like face mask going on, his eye patch, and I was like, oh dude, that looks cool. What can I match with it? And that's when I found the Bope Fatigues uniform. And I was like, oh dude, I thought that looks really cool. And so when looking for a weapon skin, I wanted something green. So the weapon skin I chose here is the Strike Force weapon skin with the World Class Apparatus attachment skin. I think this is almost a perfect match. The greens may be a little bit too dark, but it's pretty close, and the grays match the gray accents all over the uniform. I'm a big fan of like the tactical looking uniforms and headgears and whatnot, so when I saw this one, I had to pick it up. Next up, we have Hibana. There's nothing super special about the uniform. It is just a recolor of her default skin. Here's a little 360 going on, which I think it still looks pretty cool, even though it is a recolor. It's called Fragment. The uniform is called Fragment. The headgear is where it switches up. This is also the Fragment headgear. So this is a whole set, actually. It just gives her these like creepy little horns, puts her hair up in a bow, and gives her a headset. Typically, she's wearing this little hood, and I wanted to change that if I could find something. And so when I found this, gives her a cool face mask and the like headset and the headband horn thing going on, the little dangly thingies. I thought that looked really cool. Also says Fragment on this side. Once again, we have already rocked this weapon skin and attachment skin combination on a different operator, but this is the Akino Tsuru weapon skin and the Hot and Spicy attachment skin. We're really just trying to match the reds and the blacks here, and I mean, I think it looks really cool. You could also get away with World Class Apparatus here too if you wanted to do that, but I like the red magazine. Next up, we've got Jackal. This is a recolor of his default skin, but it makes it look like he's covered in like coral, like he's straight off the beach or something. This is called Golden Coral. That's the uniform name. His helmet is called the Wave King Crown. This whole like headset and uniform is a full set. His earmuffs look like shells and like they have barnacles on it. His weapon skin here is the Beach Trip weapon skin and the Superstorm attachment skin. The Superstorm attachment skin makes it look like he's sort of on the shore. And he's covered in barnacles. He's sort of like summer beach colors. And so I went with just a literal beach weapon design here, and I think it looks really cool on him. Next, we have Ying. I actually have 2 different combinations for Ying, but we'll look at this one first. This first one is the Starlight. This is a black, white, and like a streak of gold every once in a while. It's a little bit hard to tell. I'll like zoom in a little bit. You can see the little bits of gold like right here on her pants and on her sleeves here. And then if we look at the headgear, this is the Eclipse headgear. I'm pretty sure this is a whole set with the gold streak, the black and the white. I was looking for a full face mask because I don't really like her default headgear that much. And so when I saw this, I was like, oh, that looks dope. The weapon skin she has is the first class burglary weapon skin with the Lifeblood Flower attachment skin. The Lifeblood Flower just complements the little gold specks going on, and the gold is trying to match the little gold streaks. The white is matching the white. I think it all comes together nicely. This is the next set for Ying. So once again, this is a recolor, but this is like a shiny silver recolor. This is called the Chrome Person Uniform, and the headgear is the robot antenna headgear. This just makes her into a robot. I'm not typically a huge fan of the robot skins, but there really weren't a lot of options to change her shape, and so I picked this one up before I got the one I showed you before. As far as the weapon skin goes, we have the Obsidian weapon skin. I think it kind of matches the shininess on her uniform and her headgear, and then the world-class apparatus attachment skin, which is just this carbon fiber black. I think it looks really cool. Next up, we have Zofia. This is a recolor of a default skin of hers. This makes her look like she's sort of smoldering with little bits of flames, I guess, a little bit of fire. This uniform is called Firebird Wraps, and this isn't a matching headgear. I just thought it looked cool. This is the Solar Raid headgear from a previous season. And I think sitting on top of the uniform, it looks really, really cool, especially with their orange glasses. The weapon skin and the attachment skin I have here are the Embers weapon skin and the Embers attachment skin. I don't know. I don't think I have to explain this very much. This just, all the colors come together perfectly here. She looks like she's just a continuation of the weapon skin, in my opinion, and I think that looks really cool. I was also looking for an opportunity to use the new Embers weapon and attachment skin, and Zofia pulled through, so appreciate that, Zofia. Next up, we have Dokkaebi. So this one changes her shape pretty dramatically. This is her default uniform. I guess maybe it's not that dramatic. She does have this like bulky little chest piece going on with the shoulder pads and the leggings. This just gives her like knee-high joggers, a tank top, and a cool little plate carrier, which I think looks so cool. Definitely changes the way that she looks pretty significantly. This is called the Simulation Course uniform, and the headgear is the Top Knot Presentation. This is a pretty interesting headgear. There weren't a lot of headgears that changed her hairstyle or her like the way her hair was sitting. Like normally she has this beanie on with these little braids coming down the side, and so when I saw this one, saw that it changed her uniform up pretty crazy. I was like, oh, I gotta pick that up for sure. The weapon skin here is the Ancient Marble weapon skin, and we have the Fable Shapings attachment skin. Again, we're going to match the kit here. We're trying to match the kit with the tan, and the Fable Shapings being this like dark brownish kind of color, sort of match her pants and her tank top, which I think look really cool. Next up, we've got Lion. This is technically, I think, a recolor of his default skin. This is just a super noisy gold, white, and like dark brown kind of camo, kind of uniform here. This is the Western Steward uniform. This is the matching headgear, the Western Steward headgear. This just gives him a hood, removes that big old mask he's always wearing, gives him like a respirator kind of thing going on. I thought it was cool that we could see his face here, which is something I was looking for. I wanted to take that mask off, and this one came through. The weapon skin here is the Weathered Partner weapon skin, and the attachment skin is the Lifeblood Flower attachment skin. Honestly, I could just run the Weathered Partner set, so I could just change this. I just changed it. The weapon skin here is the Weathered Partner weapon skin and the Weathered Partner attachment skin. So this is just a whole set right here. And the crazy tan and black going on right here at the bottom of the weapon, I think matches the noisiness of his uniform, and the gold matches the gold accents all over the place, which I think looks pretty cool. Very noisy operator combo, but I think it all kind of comes together. Next up, we've got Finka. So this one does change the way she looks pretty dramatically as far as the uniform goes. This is her regular uniform. She's wearing her jacket with her little magazine carrier out here on the side. She's got a little bit of a bulky shoulder pad thing going on here. With the Rare Serenity uniform, we have removed the jacket and wrapped it around her waist, gotten rid of the magazine carrier that she was wearing, and put on a vest underneath. She's also got what looks to be an injury right here on her arm. So she's wrapped that up. Either that or maybe it's just, I don't know, random wrapping or something. I don't know. I think the bare vest looks really dope. That's personal opinion, but I think it's cool not having any magazines on it. The headgear here is on the mend. This just takes off her headgear, completely. This is normally what she looks like. She's got the hairstyle kind of flowing off to the side with a shaved head. So this just gives her some spiky hair, no flow going on, removes her mask, gives her a band-aid and a little bit of scarring and whatnot. And I think it kind of looks pretty cool. The weapon skin here is the Rusty Trigger weapon skin and the Fable Shapings attachment skin. We're just going for like the yellow and grays. That's really what we're trying to match here. And it looks really cool on her. It's like, this seems like a perfect set to me. Like if you were to put this in the store as a bundle, I wouldn't bat an eye at all. This would just be like, oh yeah, this, you know, Finka set, 100%. Next up, we have Maverick. So this is a recolor of his default skin. This uniform is called the Freebooter. This is like sort of, like rebellious kind of uniform. I don't really know how to describe it. Maybe post-apocalyptic type. And his headgear, I've given him this like bump helmet with some goggles. It's called Worn Stone. This is normally what he looks like. He's got this little like hat, which I've always thought looked dumb. That's also, again, personal opinion. Maybe some people think this looks super dope and whatnot, but I always thought like, let's put some helmets on. Let's get some armor going here, you know what I mean? I don't know. I think the bump helmet looks really cool, especially with how shredded up it is kind of here on the side. I think the wear and tear on the helmet match the whole like wear and tear on this post-apocalyptic sort of skin he's got going on here. As far as the weapon skin goes, the weapon skin is the Penumbra Cells. I think that's how you say it. I don't know how to pronounce this. I think it's Penumbra Cells. I'm just gonna say that. So apologies if I'm mispronouncing that. This is like an all black weapon skin. I'll show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like. Sort of pretty textured black with the world-class apparatus attachment skin. Looks really cool in my opinion. It's sort of minimalistic on his appearance, but he is wearing a lot of dark clothing. So I kind of just went with a black weapon skin. I think it looks cool. Next up, we've got Nomad. This was one of the uniforms that really changed the way that she looks. This is the Ill-Fated Explorer uniform. It just looks like she's been mummified or something. I don't even know what's going on. It's also kind of hard to tell, but her fingers are gone here. If you look down here to the left, like she's lost 2 of her fingers, and I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool. And the headgear here is the Forever Cursed headgear. She's got like a coin in her mouth and some like dangling like charms and whatnot going on. That kind of also looks like an eyeball, so it's like super freaky and whatnot. Also, her jaw is like dismembered, I think. So when she moves, it just has like physics, which is also kind of creepy. When trying to decide on a weapon skin, it was kind of hard. I think this weapon skin goes with the uniform, but you have to be looking at the uniform in order for it to like look cool. The weapon skin here is just called Snake, and the attachment skin is the Lifeblood Flower attachment skin. I think when we look at the weapon skin by itself, it's like, it doesn't look that great. I think it looks kind of cool, but you know, I typically wouldn't put snake skin and gold together, but that's just personal opinion. But when we see Nomad holding it, I think it all kind of makes sense. You know, the gold here is accenting the gold charms on her head. Also, the barrel here is blue, and if she was using a foregrip, I don't think she can use one. She can use a laser sight, I guess. But the laser sight here is also blue. So the blues match the blue, the gold matches the gold, and the snake matches the like mummified kind of action she's got going on. And yeah, this one looks pretty cool in my opinion. Pretty freaky, and I think that's sort of the draw. Next up, we have Gridlock. This is called the Nautical Revolt uniform. It's like kind of makes her look like she's sort of a pirate or something, or you know, that's kind of the vibe going on here. And her headgear is the Shrimp Captain headgear. So this is a full set. She's got like a bug in her eye and like barnacles and like a tentacle coming out of her mouth. So it's like super gross, but I do think it looks pretty cool. Maybe not practical with how bulky her headgear is, but I mean, she's already pretty bulky to begin with, so I mean, what's a little bit more, you know what I mean? The weapon skin here is the Weathered Partner weapon skin and the Weathered Partner attachment skin. The weapon looks like it's been washed, you know what I mean? Like it's been put in water, forgotten about, and then taken out like years later, which I think just matches the whole aesthetic that Gridlock's going for here with her like face and whatnot. Her whole like uniform looks just crazy. And I think it all comes together really nicely. I think this one's cool. Next up, we have Nokk, and I actually have like 2 or 3 for her. So we'll start with the one you see right in front of you. This is pretty much a recolor of the uniform, but the mop headgear is different. This is the hygienic gear. This just makes it look like she's wearing some sort of like biohazard kind of cleaning service uniform. I don't know how to describe it. And the headgear here is the mop head. This just makes her look like she's wearing, you know, like mop strands on her head. I've always wanted this skin. And so like for years, ever since this has come out, I haven't been playing Siege until recently, but when it first came out, I was like, oh my gosh, dude, I want that so bad. I want Nokk Mop so bad. And so I finally picked it up alongside like 1 or 2 other different sets, and I'm really happy to have this now. As far as the weapon skin goes, this is the Sleek Lethality weapon skin and the Sleek Lethality attachment skin. It's just dark blue with hints of orange. The orange doesn't really match anything. We're really just trying to match the blue in the uniform, and I think it all comes together pretty cool. This is the next set we have for Nokk. This is called the Empiric uniform. You can see it kind of makes her look like she's got scales or like feathers or something. Also, her boots and her gloves are covered in blood. That's what it looks like. Kind of gives her a whole like raven look. Speaking of which, the headgear is the Ghastly Presage, I believe is how you pronounce that. Just like a freaky looking like plague mask is what it looks like. Also gives her some feathers and like creepy little spiky doos coming out of her head. The headgear is also a little bit like blood tinted. It's a little difficult to see, but she's got sort of red accents here, and I think that's cool. As far as the weapon skin, we just have the Fable Shapings weapon skin and the Fable Shapings attachment skin. We're just trying to match the browns that are littered around her uniform, and I think it looks so cool. This one's super dope. So this, I'm not gonna like go in depth about what this one is. This is just another combination that you can run with this dark blue uniform. This is the Ghostly Vision headgear. It gives her some like glowing blue eyes, but they're really faint, and also kind of makes her headgear look sort of holographic. It's really difficult to get this to match with anything other than this or the uniform that it's meant for, but I don't own it. Finally, for Nokk, we have this combination. This is called the Sub-Zero Descent. It just makes her extremities look like they've been covered in snow, like they've been iced over and whatnot. Also, her kit looks like it's been iced over as well. The headgear here is called Nova Cluster. It's got these like whitish accents kind of all over the place, which I think complement the like icy accents on the uniform pretty nicely. And the weapon skin here is the Bone Chills weapon skin and the Hibernal Solstice attachment skin. So it makes her weapon look like it's completely made of ice pretty much. And I think this one's really cool as well. Next up, we have Amaru, and I have 2 for her. This first one is called Trap Nest. It just makes her like white and gray, sort of like spider webby up here on the like chest and sleeves. And her headgear here is called the Eyes of Silk, which I don't even know how to describe this one. This is just like really odd looking, but I think it matches the uniform nicely. And a super easy combination, we just have the Arctic weapon skin, and I believe the Hibernal Solstice, no, the Gossamer Demise attachment skin is what I have equipped here. So that's the first one for Amaru that I have. This is the next set. This is called the Stylist's Pick uniform. It's like a recolor of her default skin, but it gives her a bunch of flowers all over the place. And this is her default headgear as well. Yeah, it's just default headgear, the red headband that she usually wears. The weapon skin is the Akinotsuru weapon skin with the Hot and Spicy attachment skin. The flowers or the little leaves here on the weapon skin are trying to match the flowers here, and I think it does pretty good. Also, there's a lot of red and black in the skin, which Amaru currently is wearing. It's just mostly black and red. So I think this all comes together to make a really cool combination. Next up, we have Callie. Her uniform here, it's called the Kaolan Mastery, I think is how you pronounce that. I could probably be butchering that though, so forgive me if I am. What I liked about this skin is that it replaces her arms with like robotic arms. Her normal skin doesn't have that. She just has regular standard arms, but with this skin, it makes them robotic. It also kind of gilds them out, which I think looks really cool. The headgear here is the Vitrified Guard, which gives her these like goggles and also gilds out a little bit of it as well. It's a full set, and I think it looks cool. And for the weapon skin, we have the Dynasty weapon skin, and for her secondaries, we have the brown attachment skin, which I think matches pretty close. So yeah, there's Callie. Next up, we have Iana. So this changes the way she looks. This is typically what she's wearing. She's wearing some like kind of strange looking tactical gear with like shoulder pads. This just gives her like a festive like crop top hoodie with sweatpants, and it's like yellow, blue, red. Those are like the main colors, but there's some accents of cyan and whatnot in here. Here's a little 360 of what that looks like. It's just pretty casual wear, and it looks cool. This is called the Explosion Decolors. For the headgear, I went with Mission Blacksmith because it changes the way her hairstyle is. This is normally what she looks like, and I've never liked this headgear at all. I always thought it looked weird. It actually doesn't look bad now that I'm looking at it like up close. But when I saw the like ponytail kind of bangs, I was like, oh, that looks pretty different. I'll go with that. Kind of makes her look cybernetic, like she's a robot, which also is kind of cool, sort of cyberpunky. The weapon skin I have for this combination is the Thermal Antipodes weapon skin and the Hot and Spicy attachment skin. There's blue, orange, and yellow in the weapon skin, also red and orange in the attachment skin, and those are the main colors here in her uniform. And so this one just, I think, looks sick. Next up, we have Ace, and I have 2 for Ace. This first one is the Swallowtail uniform. It sort of gives him like a weird sweater. I don't really know what that is that he's wearing actually. And some like ripped jeans. This is very odd now that I'm looking at it, but I do think it looks cool. This is the corresponding headgear. It's basically a recolor of his default headgear, just with like the denim over his goggles and the like sort of sweatery texture going on over his face. The weapon skin here is called Tiger, and the attachment skin is the Piercing Rays attachment skin. The like bright yellowish, orangish kind of colors sort of look like they have tiger stripes on them. And so I thought, oh man, that sort of looks like the tiger skin that I have. And when I put this combination together, I was like, oh man, that looks pretty cool. I like this one a lot, actually. This is the next combination for him. This is, I believe, a recolor of his default skin once again, but it gives him a brown jacket and some blue pants. Uniform is called the Handyman, and the headgear here is the Dreadful Mine. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sort of makes him look like Nordic or like a Viking of some kind, which is really cool. Gives him some cool face tattoos and kind of does like signature Viking hairstyle. I was looking for something to take off his helmet and his mask, because I do think the mask looks odd. I've always thought that was weird. Like, I know that personally, I've worn masks, balaclavas, and face masks before, and it can be kind of hard to breathe, so I'd actually understand like doing this, but you do kind of look very, very, very silly. The weapon skin we've got going on is the Velveteen weapon skin and the Velveteen attachment skin. We're matching the browns and the darks in his uniform here, and I think the bronze matches the brown nicely, and the blacks just kind of go with his like pants and the darker colors in his like dark OD green kit that he's got going on. I think it comes together nicely. Next up, we've got Zero. This is like a gilded version of his regular skin. This is what his regular skin looks like. And so it's pretty much identical to his regular skin, except it just kind of changes some of the colors up a little bit. Got some gold accents. Sort of looks like he's wearing a gold tie, but I don't think that's a tie actually. This is called the Sophisticated Suit. And his headgear, we have the SI 2024 Denier. I wanted something that made his face look a little more casual. And when I saw the sunglasses, I was like, oh yeah, that looks pretty cool. Sort of looks like he's like a rich guy or something, I don't know. As far as the weapon skin I gave him just the straight up gold weapon skin with the first class burglary attachment skin. The darks and the attachments go with his vest. The gold matches the gilded parts of the jacket, and I think it just looks dope. Now we've got Flores. His uniform is pretty much the same. It's got a lot more texture than the default one does, and also gives him these like little runic things going on around his sleeves and his calves. This is called the Avalanche White, and I believe this is the corresponding headgear. This is the Sinister Transformation headgear, which is super creepy looking and sort of freaky. And when I saw this skin in the marketplace, I was like, oh my gosh, wait, that looks like it complements perfectly the Bone Chills weapon skin that I have, which it probably is part of the same set. But the Bone Chills weapon skin looks very frosty. The runic bits in the Bone Chills attachment skin go with the like runic parts of his uniform, also on the little antlers he's got going on. And I think all of it just goes together perfectly. It changes the way his head looks. That's sort of the most significant part about this. And I don't know, I think it looks cool. All the frosted parts I think are really cool. I like icy looking skins too. Next up, we've got Osa. So Osa doesn't have any skins in the marketplace right now that change her body shape or her uniform shape. But this is the most dramatic looking one. She's got like gold accents everywhere, little bits of red and like blue, black, sort of all over the place. This is called the Dragonfly Scout uniform, and this is the Dragonfly Scout headgear as well. It's pretty standard, but she's got this face mask and it all just sort of comes together. She's also wearing this like bandana. She doesn't typically wear a bandana, so she's wearing that. The weapon skin we have for her is the Sovereign weapon skin and the Lifeblood Flower attachment skin. The Lifeblood Flower is all gold. We're matching the golden bits in her uniform, and the Sovereign weapon skin is going for the reds that are littered around her body and her legs and stuff, which you can't currently see right now, but yeah, I think this one looks really cool. Next up, we've got Sens. We're sort of at a spot in the operator lists on the attackers where these operators haven't been around long enough for them to have a lot of options as far as different cosmetics go. This is the Wolfguard standard for Sens, and this is the complementary Wolfguard standard headgear for Sens as well. So this is just a full set. Sens isn't usually wearing a mask or a helmet of any kind, and so when I saw this, I was like, oh, that looks dope. And it's got the blue accents, and so I was like, what has blue accents? So I found the corresponding uniform, and I think it looks dope together. The weapon skin is a little hard to tell right now, but he's got the Bone Chills weapon skin with the... Sorry, I had to check. The attachment skin is the Search and Rescue attachment skin. I tried matching the darker blue to his uniform, and the whites and the light blues in the bone chills, I think all just kind of come together nicely. I think this one's really cool. I was really hoping to have something that would change his body shape, but a retexture is okay in some instances, and I think this one actually looks pretty cool. Next up, we've got Grim. Again, Grim doesn't have a lot of options for changing the actual operator shape, but he does have a uniform or a headgear that takes his hat off. This is the Scuttling Peril uniform. It's pretty noisy and pretty interesting looking. The headgear is the carapace casing, I think is how you say it. This just takes off his helmet and shows his hair and his face. I actually had trouble putting this kit together, or this set together, because none of his uniforms are really standing out to me. As far as the weapon skin goes, Olay Europea weapon skin with the Chroma Streaks attachment skin. I prefer Chroma Streaks on this over the actual full set, just because the Chroma Streaks is shiny and also the barrel's gold. A lot of my skins don't actually go with this uniform. This is the closest thing I had to it. And he is sort of wearing a, like, whoa, we're just gonna go. What the heck? He is sort of wearing like a lavender uniform underneath, and he's got purple accents here and there, so I thought the purple skin would go pretty cool. So yeah, not my favorite combination, but I did what I could, and this is what I came up with. Next up is Brava. So this uniform is pretty interesting. It's pretty much a recolor for default skin. This is what her default skin looks like typically. It's not quite inverting colors, but it's kind of what it looks like. Also, her gloves are sort of golden. This uniform is called the Commando Striker, and the headgear is the Ludicrous Enterprise. This just gives her a face mask, and I think that looks dope. When looking for a weapon skin to go along with this, I was having a little bit of trouble, but I decided on the Weathered Partner because when you're playing the game, you see her gloves and they're kind of golden. Also, the Weathered Partner skin is a little hard to tell, but it has like tan and black parts in it. And her shirt is tan, her pants are black. And so I think in a way it kind of ties in together. I don't think it looks terrible. Maybe there are better options, but this is what I picked, and I think it looks cool. We're coming to the end of the defenders here. This is Ram. This uniform right here is called Bighorn Gray. This is like a black and gray digital camo kind of uniform. Pretty typical to Ram's design. Like, this is her default uniform, so it's like you just remove the saturation, and that's kind of the uniform that we have going on here. Unlike her uniform, her headgear does change the way her face looks. She's typically wearing an ACH or like a combat helmet with quad nods, which honestly I think this headgear looks cool, but I wanted to change it up. And so when I saw the black beret, the little bun that she's got going on, I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. As far as the weapon skin goes, she's rocking Obsidian, and the attachment skin is the World Class Apparatus attachment skin. So it's really just an all black combo, and in this instance I think it looks really cool. Generally I don't like the shoulder pads. I think shoulder pads look kind of goofy, but in her instance I think it looks cool. Next we have Deimos. I don't have anything for Deimos. Nothing in the store was really like looked cool enough for me to get, but the weapon skin I have for him, because he's sort of already wearing all black, is just Obsidian, same as Ram, and the World Class Apparatus attachment skin. Just going with another all black build here. Finally, we have Rauora. I think this is the only uniform she has available to her, and I only got it because I purchased the battle pass, and this was just in the battle pass. Makes her extremities look all dirty and whatnot, and she sort of looks like maybe a police officer of some kind. Her glasses are like these dark glasses. I almost prefer these, to be honest, because you can see her eyes, but just gonna rock what I have. As far as the weapon skin goes, the weapon skin I chose for her is the Destroyer weapon skin, which is like this prototype kind of black and orange weapon skin, and the attachment skin is the Hot and Spicy attachment skin. You can't currently see it. I don't know why it's not showing her attachments here. This is what it's supposed to look like. Yeah, I mean, it's not anything special, but I couldn't find any colors. None of the colors I own match this like green that she has going on. I mean, you could make the argument that this Dynasty weapon skin does go a little bit better than what I just picked out. So, I mean, if you like that better, you can choose that. I think I do like this better actually than what I had before, but you know, I'll keep both of them in the video. And that brings us to the end of the attackers. Those are all the uniforms and the weapon skins I have for my attackers. And we're gonna just hop straight into the defenders now. First up, we've got Sentry. I'm really not gonna preview him much because this is his default uniform and headgear. But the weapon skin he has is the Penumbra Cells weapon skin and the Search and Rescue attachment skin. Again, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. We're really trying to just match his goggles and his helmet color, which are a little bit blue. Everything else is pretty much like a really dark blue or dark gray, which is what we were trying to go with the actual weapon skin. I think it looks pretty cool. Next up, we've got Smoke. I was like, dude, that is like one of the coolest like uniforms I've seen in this game, period. Like, I think that's so sick. It says his name right here. This is called the aerated body armor. This is typically what he looks like. He's usually wearing some pretty bulky gear with big old vests and whatnot. So this reduces his profile pretty significantly, and I think just looks better. And this is the corresponding headgear, the aerated body armor headgear as well. I didn't actually know that this was the corresponding headgear. I just purchased them independently because I thought they would look cool, and turns out they're a set, so I mean, I guess that makes sense. The weapon skin and the attachment skin I chose, the weapon skin is the Strike Force weapon skin. This is because it's like green and gray, sort of like his uniform is, and the attachment skin is the Weathered Partner because I think the goldish here sort of matches the canister that he's got going on, the yellow canister, the yellow and gray canister down here. I mean, I think it looks pretty cool. Green and yellow is a cool combination. I think it looks cool in this weapon, and kind of matches his aesthetic in my opinion. Next up, we've got Mute. This is the Swamp Trek uniform. It's like I don't even know how to describe it, to be honest. It's just like camouflage pants, big old boots, big old tan plate carrier going on here, and a cool looking jacket. The headgear here is the shrub cover. I thought the tan here on the headgear like matched the tan in his kit. Pretty cool. And as far as the weapon skin we have, once again, we're trying to match the tan, so we went with the Ancient Marble. And I don't think I have any attachments equipped, but the attachment skin I would have put is the Fable Shapings attachment skin. And I mean, that's it for Mute. I think this is just a really, really cool set. It changes the way he looks pretty significantly and looks really cool at the same time. Next up, we've got Castle. This gives Castle just like a casual streetwear kind of stuff. It's called Street Smart. Gives him a leather jacket, a t-shirt with his logo on it, some pants, and some kicks as well. And his headgear is called Honcho. Gives him some earbuds, some cool shades, and removes his helmet. I can't stand this uniform. I think this uniform looks so goofy. Like, the shoulder pads, I think, is what makes it look so weird. If we had just removed the shoulder pads, I think this uniform would have been, like, understandable. I'm just not a fan of shoulder pads. That's personal opinion. I think this just looks weird. So when I saw this, and I saw it had no shoulder pads, and it just thinned out his profile, I was like, oh, that looks so cool. So I got the Honcho headgear, and I think it looks dope. The weapon skin I chose here is the Destroyer weapon skin with the Wooden Flow attachment skin. We're trying to match the orange here in his purple shirt. And the Wooden Flow, I think, just kind of goes with his fit here. That is personal preference. I think it does go pretty nicely. Not a super flashy skin, but I don't think you need to be flashy in order to look cool, and I think this one pulls through. So I have two uniforms for Pulse. This first uniform is called the Darkness Denizen, I believe is what it's called. It just makes him look like he's like got injuries all over the place. He's like bleeding on his arms and his legs. The vest he's wearing has these like bronze accents, almost like it's I don't really know how to describe it. Like it's been soaked in blood and the blood dried. That's kind of what the color looks like. And the headgear we have here is the Agonized headgear. I always thought the bandana on Pulse looked really cool, and when I saw this headgear, I thought it looked really good with the uniform that he's wearing. And so he just looks like he's been through some tough shenanigans, and he's here to tell the tale. He's here to haunt you. His weapon skin, I chose Obsidian and the Piercing Rays attachment skin to go with it. I had a really hard time picking out a combination here that actually looked good. I don't think I have any skins that look really cool with this, so I just went with Obsidian. Like, when in doubt, just put Obsidian on it, I guess. That's kind of the mentality here. This is the next combination. So this is called the Camp Regimen. This one I think is so cool. This one does change his shape. The uniform shape pretty significantly. I love the vest. I think the vest is dope. I think the jeans look pretty cool. The tucked in long sleeve like polo shirt looks really cool too, or maybe that's a button up. I can't actually tell. The headgear here is called the Strategic Shades. This gives him hair and sunglasses and like a little bit of scruff down here under the lip, which I mean, like, what else could you want from Pulse's headgear? That's just so sick. Kind of makes him look younger in a way. As far as his weapon skin goes, we have the Whitehall 1212 weapon skin and the brown attachment skin. The brown, I think, matches the shirt, and the police weapon skin, I think, matches the vest really nicely. I think it just looks dope. Next up, we've got Doc. So this does change the way that Doc looks. This is normally what he looks like. He's normally wearing like super obnoxiously bulky gear with the notoriously big shoulder pads that I can't stand shoulder pads. So this uniform removes those like super bulky shoulder pads. He still has some, but it's not bad. It gives him a short sleeve shirt, removes the bulkiness from his front here, and gives him sort of more of a casual attire in a way. Gives him some cool latex blue gloves as well. This is called Operative Status. I don't think I did a 360 yet. Let me do that real quick. This is the full 360 of Doc's uniform. This one's really cool in my opinion. And this is the Wolfguard standard headgear. This is just like a one earpiece headset and shows his hair, removes his helmet that he normally wears, and I like that a lot. For his weapon skin, I actually struggled to pick something out. I went with the Suspicious Material weapon skin and the attachment skin, only because I thought thematically him being like a doctor, I don't know, kind of made sense. We could also, this probably looks better too, use the ancient marble weapon skin and the brown attachment skin to match his vest. That also looks pretty cool too. But yeah, I mean, there's Doc. I think he looks pretty dope. Next up, we've got Rook, and I have 2 for Rook. This changes the way he looks. Typically, this is normally what he looks. He's got that bulky vest, and he's got kind of a wide profile if you look at him from the side. He still has a kind of wide profile, but it is a little more slimmed out. Let's do a little 360 and show you what it looks like all around. Got a baton on his back, I think looks pretty cool. The uniform is called the Mobile Trooper, and the headgear here is the Biker Blues. So this is a full set. I think it is pretty interesting that he has these like interesting looking shades going on, and his helmet kind of flips up. I wish it was down actually, but you know, I still think it looks cool. As far as the weapon skin goes, we have the Whitehall 1212 weapon skin and the Azure Guard attachment skin. The blues, we're trying to match the blues here a little bit. I think it looks pretty cool. This is the next set that we have for Rook. So this is a recolor of his default skin. This is called Trespassing Order. Very interesting. It's like all tan with green paint splattered all over him. And the helmet is called Soldier of Collapse. It's very strange. It almost looks like a samurai helmet, or I don't actually know what that's called, but like he's got that little fin at the top, shotgun shells on the side, and green paint just splattered everywhere, and his eyes look super weird. It's just the way the helmet sits, but like it does look kind of creepy. For his weapon skin, I chose Ectoplasm, and the attachment skin I went with Chroma Streaks, because I think Chroma Streaks does look really good on Ectoplasm. So I think the green paint being all over the place, you can make the argument that the green on the Ectoplasm looks like green paint dripping down, which I think looks pretty cool. I think this all comes together nicely. Next up, we've got Kapkan, and I have 2 uniforms for Kapkan. This first one does change his body shape. He's got these like crazy looking leggings now. Also a little bits of foliage and like forearm guards. I don't even know what to call those. Here's a little 360 of his uniform. It's called Bristly Disguise. Pretty cool, pretty cool. And his headgear is the foliage cover headgear, which I think just tops off the whole like foliage thing going on his uniform. You can see his eyes a little bit here, and I think the mask is pretty creepy looking too, which in my opinion is kind of cool. The weapon skin and the attachment skin are a set. It's the Tropical Underbrush set. So the weapon skin's Tropical Underbrush, and so is the attachment skin. And being that we're going for a foliage kind of build, I think it just kind of ties everything in together. This one is interesting. Doesn't make sense because he's a defender and sits inside buildings, but you know, here we are. This is the next combination I have for Kapkan. This is a recolor of his default skin. This is called Aggressive Vibrations. I don't know why it's called that, but I guess, you know, we're here. It says Pulse here on his leg. It says Crazy. Punk's not dead. There's just like writing all over him, and it is pretty interesting. The most notable thing here is the skull face and the rib cage and bones going on here on the chest. Then we have the matching headgear, the Stage Fight headgear, which looks pretty cool. It's got more bones going on and flames on the back here. Just a black and red build, essentially. The weapon skin is the Crimson weapon skin, and the attachment skin is the World Class Apparatus. This one I think is really, really cool. I actually would have a hard time deciding on this skin or the one I showed you before with the foliage and whatnot. I'd probably go with the foliage one just because it changes the shape and I prefer that, but this one is a very close second. Next up, we've got Tachanka. Tachanka does have some interesting options for headgears, but I think he's a little bit limited in the marketplace for uniforms. And so when I saw this one and I saw the matching headgear, I thought it was pretty cool and I went with it. This is the Legion Signifier uniform and the Galea helmet. I think both of these go really well together. I'm actually not entirely sure if it's a full set. I think it is. It looks like it would be with the red accents and the gold trim and whatnot. The weapon skin I have here is the Sovereign weapon skin and the Lifeblood Flower attachment skin. The red, white, and gold I think match the like brown, gold, and black going on all over his uniform. Something to note, his light machine gun doesn't actually have the Sovereign weapon skin available to it, so I decided to run Crimson. Let me show you what it looks like. Yeah, this is what it looks like if he's wearing or holding the light machine gun. Still think it looks really cool, but for the sake of the preview, I think Sovereign does look better. Next up, I have Jager, and I've got 2 for him. This is a recolor of his default skin. This is MVP right here on his leg. It's just like a sort of light gray and green uniform. This is called Neon Prowess. This is the matching headgear, so this is a full uniform set. It just gives him a different shaped helmet than he normally wears, and some like green earmuffs. Cool looking visor. As far as the weapon skin goes, this is the Strike Force weapon skin and the World Class Apparatus attachment skin. It's just a green and gray combo is really what we're going for here. Nothing special. I think it looks pretty neat. It's not anything crazy, but I think that's a good thing actually in this case. The minimalistic kind of slight change in design I think is dope. This is the next combination I have for Jager. I think technically this is a recolor of his default skin, but it is a lot more textured than it normally is. It might be a little bit different a little bit varied. I'm not actually sure. Psychophant? I don't know how to pronounce that actually. And the headgear here is the Brain Freeze headgear. Those are actually his eyes and they move, which is pretty interesting. You don't get to see Jaeger's eyes very often. I don't think this is an accurate representation of what his eyes would look like, but you know, it's cool that we get to see him. Got the creepy like animal skull just sitting up here on his head with some like thermal insulation on the back. Maybe that's like its pelt or something. The weapon skin we have is the Bone Chills weapon skin and the Hibernal Solstice attachment skin. It looks like he's been iced over a little bit, and so I went with an icy skin. And this one's pretty cool in my opinion. This one does change his head shape, which I like a lot. And yeah, I mean, that's it for Jaeger. Let's move on to the next one. Next up, we've got Bandit. So Bandit just happens to have really bulky shoulders. Here, let me do the little 360 first. This is the whole skin. Makes it look very casual. It's called the Urban Coat. This is his default skin. We've basically just removed the huge vest that he's wearing and given him like broader shoulders. I don't know why his shoulders like increase in size with this, but you know, I still think it looks dope. Then we have the Panthera Tigris, I believe, headgear. Gives him this bandana that he's not wearing around his mouth. It's wearing around his chin, and a beanie that he's wearing on his head. It just looks pretty casual, changes his style up pretty significantly, and I think that's cool. This is not what he normally looks like at all. As far as the weapon skin goes, we are using the Barrel Matrix weapon skin and the Barrel Matrix attachment skin. This is just a black and green weapon and attachment skin, which they don't perfectly match. The greens are different shades, but you know, close enough. They looks dope. Next up, we've got Frost. So both the headgear and the uniform here are different than her defaults, which I liked a lot. This is just sort of a casual kind of everyday kind of clothes that she's got going on. She's got a sweater with a flannel wrapped around her waist, some pants, and some waterproof boots. Also some pretty cool looking gloves in my opinion, and a crazy tactical fanny pack around her side. This is called Run of the Mill. This is the 360. I think I already did one, but I'll do one more. And the headgear is called Laid Back. I wanted to remove her beanie and face mask, and I wanted to see her face, and there happened to be one available in the R6 marketplace, so I picked it up. And this is what it looks like. The weapon skin I went with here is the Bone Chills weapon skin and the Hibernal Solstice attachment skin. Her name is Frost, so I went with just a Frost weapon. That's kind of the thought process there. There's probably something that would have matched her uniform a little bit better, but I went based off of the name Frost and went with a frosty gun. Next up we have Valkyrie, and I have two for her. This first one is called Authority Crusher. This one is gives her some plaid pants and a t-shirt with some green paint kind of splattered all around her. Like if we turn her around, she's got like green paint here on the back, on her arms, and just like dirt and grime all over her pants and whatnot. So I think it looks pretty cool here. Her headgear here is the American Anarchy. This removes the hood that she's always wearing and gives her like sort of a mohawk and glasses. I liked the fact that her hood has been removed here. I thought it went well with the uniform skin that she's wearing right now. The weapon skin that she has is the Akino Tsuru weapon skin with the Hot and Spicy attachment skin. I was trying to match the plaid pants, but it's kind of a stretch. But I still think it works out. I mean, you could probably get away with ectoplasm. Like this is what ectoplasm looks like. She's not actually wearing any purple anywhere, but she does have green kind of splattered everywhere. So you could wear this too, I think, and kind of get away with it. I'll probably be interchangeable with it, to be honest, but you know. So that's the first set. This is the next set. This uniform is called White, pronounced as such. This is just a fully white uniform. There's nothing actually crazy significant about her uniform other than, you know, it is entirely the color white, and her tattoos are pretty interesting looking. She's also got like veins kind of going up here, which I actually didn't notice until just now, so that's kind of cool. And the headgear here is called the Sanitarium. This is obviously pretty freaky, kind of gives her like a white nun look to her with some bloodshot like eyelids and some like blood leaking down her face. Very creepy, very gross, but I think that's kind of cool. It's like trying to scare the attackers a little bit. If I was an attacker and I saw this, I'd be like, what the heck? The weapon skin here is the Arctic weapon skin with the Piercing Race attachment skin. We're just trying to match the white color here in her uniform. And I don't own the Crimson attachment skin, but that would probably be what I run. But since I don't own it, the closest thing I have is Piercing Rays, which is just this like light orange attachment skin. I was gonna try to match the blood coming out of her mouth and her eyes, but you know, I don't own it yet. Still working on getting all the ops. Next up, we've got Cav. So this uniform is called the Spotless Trainer. This changes the way that her uniform looks a little bit. It's pretty close to her default. This is her default right here. She pretty much retains the same like profile that she does with her default in this new skin. It's pretty much almost identical, but it does change her uniform a little bit, which I liked. She's got the green sweater. She's removed the magazine like pouches over here on her little kit. Also, she's removed the knuckle gloves, and she's got different gloves on now, which is also pretty cool. I actually just really like the green color. The headgear here is called the Ghost Eyes Standard, and I think the like shades of green look cool with the uniform that she's wearing, and the like kind of attempt at a skull mask also looks pretty cool here. She's also got this really interesting fat braid. It's not typical. This is... Oh, it is typical. It's just shorter than it normally is. Gotcha. I was mistaken. Her hairstyle is different here, though, than it typically is. As far as the guns go, she's using the Strike Force weapon skin and the Olive attachment skin. We're just trying to match the green uniform that she's got going on. There's no magazine in here. That's kind of weird. Kind of odd, right? So this is the only skin that I have in this preview that you can't get from the R6 Marketplace. This is a bundle exclusive. I don't actually own anything cool for Echo, so and for the Obsidian video that I made not too long ago, I had to get this bundle for a certain charm. So I'm rocking this for Echo now. I'll be quick about this one. This is the Voiceless Obscurity uniform. I think this uniform is pretty unique. It's got some cool wrappings just all over the place. And the face wear is the Ricocheting Murmur. Again, the wrappings just kind of covering his face, his hair kind of all over the place, and his hair going haywire. The weapon skin, it's hard to tell, but I've got the Sleek Lethality weapon and attachment skin going on here. Not a perfect match, but we are trying to match that dark blue, and I think it's close enough. Again, I don't really have anything to match this with unless I went with maybe Obsidian, but you know. So yeah, there's the Echo bundle. I don't actually have anything for Echo, so I apologize for that. I don't have anything to showcase for him other than this, but I do think this one is really cool. Next up, we've got Mira. Again, she has been given bulky shoulders once again. This is her default uniform. She's got like shoulder pads. Her shoulders like kind of come down like this. With this, it's like she's constantly shrugging, so if you're okay with that, I'm okay with it. Maybe I'm being too nitpicky about some of these uniforms, but I do really like that this changes the entire shape of her. This is her default skin. It's very like, she's got a lot of armor on. She's got like leg armor and knee pads and whatnot. This one, all she has is a tan vest and some tactical OD green trousers. So we'll do a little 360 here. It says Policia on the back, and really like the vest too. This uniform is called Training Grounds, and the headgear here is called Raid Leader. I liked this headgear. This is typically what she wears. She has this like sort of odd looking helmet, sort of, you know, signature Mira helmet with her visor up. I was looking for something that had her visor down, and I found this, but I thought that this helmet ended up looking kind of odd, a little strange. It's like there's too much going on up here on the helmet. So I settled with this. This looks more like riot gear, in my opinion, and I think it goes pretty well with the Policia like kind of kit that she's got running right now. As far as the weapon skin goes, we have the Whitehall 1212 weapon skin and the Sentient Growth attachment skin. This gives the optic this like dark blue color, which is very close to the Whitehall 1212, and the yellow muzzle, which matches the yellow accents that she has in her uniform. So I think it looks pretty cool. Next up, we've got Legion. This uniform is called Blue Hibiscus. This makes him look like he's, you know, coming straight out of beach vacation and straight into combat. And the headgear here, I think, is the corresponding headgear, is called Summer Cool. This removes his helmet, gives him some like side shavings here and some sunglasses, and I think he's got a popsicle in his mouth, but he's been chewing on it. Maybe he's just chewing the board now. A little like popsicle stick. So because he looks like he's coming straight out of the sandy beaches of Florida, I went with a beach weapon skin. This weapon skin is called Beach Trip, and the attachment skin is the brown attachment skin. I think this one looks pretty cool. You could also get away with the Superstorm weapon skin. This one might actually go a little bit more, but I thought thematically the sandy beach was kind of funny. But I think the blues and the whites here kind of match a little bit better. I'll leave that up to you if you wanted to run this kit too. But yeah, I really like the Beach Trip set, to be honest. Next up, we've got Ella. This is pretty much a default uniform of hers. It's just been recolored a little bit. This is called the Wearable Canvas, and it looks like she's just been splattered in some paint. She's also got some like graffiti kind of action going on here on her jacket. The headgear here is called Wearable Canvas, so this is a full set. This gives her some white and like pinkish earmuffs, a slight little pink frosted tips here. It's a little hard to tell, but they're a little bit pink at the bottom, and some blonde hair. The weapon skin I chose is the Waffle Cone weapon skin, which just makes it look like she's holding an entire ice cream. And then the attachment skin is the Magical Shenanigans attachment skin. I think the pink attachment skin goes obviously pretty well with her jacket, and the Waffle Cone is just like crazy looking, and I think it just makes sense because her whole uniform is pretty crazy looking. So I think it ties everything in together pretty nicely. Next up, we've got Vigil. Vigil here is wearing a uniform called Into the Wrong. This is like pretty like an out there skin. It's pretty like very colorful and very obnoxious, maybe. The headgear here is called Anthropomorphic. I believe I'm saying that right. This gives him a creepy mask with some blue accents on it, a face, and some horns coming out. And being that the main colors here are orange, blue, and like yellow, I thought the Thermal Antipodes weapon skin would go perfectly. And once again, we are running the hot and spicy attachment skin to go along with it. I think every color has a match here in the weapon skin and the attachment skin pretty much. And I think this ends up looking pretty cool. It is pretty noisy and pretty obnoxious, especially for somebody who's trying to be stealthy, but wanted to pick it up and I thought it looks cool. Next up, we've got Maestro. Maestro, I gave him this like police kind of outfit. Same with Alibi, you'll see that in a second. This is called Enforcement, and his headgear is also called Enforcement, so this is just a full set. The beret matches the blue color that he's wearing. The weapon skin we have here is the Whitehall 1212 weapon skin with the Sentient Growth attachment skin. You can't actually see it on the weapon at the moment. Let me show you. Yeah, there you go. So the muzzle here is yellow. There are lots of yellow accents here, so I thought that naturally was a pretty cool fit. And I mean, that's honestly all I have to say about Maestro. It's pretty straightforward. Next up, we've got Alibi. Alibi is also wearing the Enforcement uniform. I think the Enforcement uniform does look pretty cool. I saw a lot of the other uniforms that were in the R6 marketplace, and this one stood out to me to be the coolest one. The headgear here is the Enforcement headgear, so matching set. Honorable mention here being the throwback hoops. This does change her body shape, and it still does go with the Enforcement pretty well. However, I do think I lean towards the full set. I think the face mask, the glasses, and the hat that she's wearing look really, really cool. Same with Maestro. The weapon skin is the Whitehall 1212 weapon skin with the Sentient Growth attachment skin. It's hard to tell, but her muscle is yellow. And yeah, there's Alibi for you. Next up, we have Clash. I don't even own Clash. The uniform I got for her is the Musical Oddball uniform. This gives her some like fancy plaid pants and like a white button-up shirt. Also gives like leopard patterns on her uniform, which is pretty odd. The headgear here is the Deadly Omen headgear. I think this was a seasonal headgear. There is actually a matching set headgear for her, but I thought that the checkered pattern on the police hat looked cooler in my opinion. So this is what the set looks like. The weapon skin that she has right now is the Ruby weapon skin and the Lifeblood Flower attachment skin. We're just trying to match the pants here, and the gold is just, you know, she's already like off the walls with her uniform, so I figured let's go off the walls with the attachment skin too. Shiny gold and blue. So there we are. There's Clash for you. Next up, we have Cade. So this is a reskin of his default. This is what his default uniform looks like. It's pretty standard, pretty like straightforward. This is called Bronco Saddle, and just makes him look like he's wearing like cowhide, I guess. I think it's pretty interesting. It is a little bit different. And his headgear here is called the Grizzly Veteran. It's a little bit different. I wouldn't blame you for not noticing. It took me a while to figure out what was different about it, but he's got this like patch of chin hair removed, and his helmet is different, or his hat, I mean. His hat has these little feathers on it. He's got this big old booty mustache, and he's removed his chin hair. His mustache is a little bit different on his default versus this one. It's a little bushier here. I mean, I think it does look a little silly, but I was trying to change the shape of his head as much as I could, and this is what I came up with. I think the tan beret does match his tan uniform pretty nicely. As far as the weapon skin I went with the Battle Fabric weapon skin and the Fable Shapings attachment skin. This is because I tried to match the sort of fabric kind of texture he's got going on with the cowhide on his torso. Fabric-y looking weapon skin. I think it looks pretty cool. So yeah, there's Cade. Next up, we've got Mozzie, and I've got two for him. The first uniform is the Competitor Mozzie 2020. I really like this one because it does change the way that he looks pretty dramatically. I like the hoodie and the pants. I think the pants are actually a really cool part of his uniform here too, like the knee pads and the like shin guards. And he's got the corresponding headset, or headgear, I mean, the Competitor Mozzie 2020 headgear. I think this one looks really cool. I like being able to see his face fully. Normally he's wearing that like motorcycle helmet. As far as the weapon skin goes, the weapon skin is called Particle Robotics, and the attachment skin I chose is the Wings of Paradise attachment skin. It's a little bit of a stretch to say that this matches, but I thought that the Australian flag here with the blue, white, and red, there is blue and there's red, a little bit of white on the weapon skin, and also there's red on his hat a little bit. And there's a lot of yellow on Particle Robotics as a weapon skin too. So, and I think that matches the yellow on his uniform. I think you can get away with this. Maybe there's something better. I could try, like I could probably run this too instead. I think this actually looks pretty cool. This is the Dynasty weapon skin and the Wings of Paradise attachment skin. I think it looks pretty cool. I think I actually like this better. I think I like this better. I'm gonna run this instead. But yeah, there's the first set, and here's the next set. This is the Pepperoni Cheese uniform. Obviously, this is pretty goofy. Similar to the Nokk uniform, when I saw Pizza Mozzie, I was like, dude, that's literally hilarious. And I was like, I absolutely have to get this at some point. His eyes are all like googly and they move around when you move around. This is the Chosen one instead of the Chosen one. There's his headgear, a little 360 with the crown on top. As far as the weapon skin goes, this is the Hot and Spicy set. So he's got the Hot and Spicy weapon skin and the Hot and Spicy attachment skin. This is just a red, orange, and yellow weapon and attachment skin, which match perfectly with the pepperoni pizza Mozzie skin. I think this one's really funny, and it's fun to run if you're just trying to like goof off. It's funny just seeing like a guy in like basically a pizza mascot costume like running at you, but no, here we are. So yeah, that's Mozzie. Next up, we've got Warden. So Warden here is wearing a uniform called Dapper Garb. This is, I think, a reskin of his default uniform, but he's wearing a brown like sports coat, like khaki pants, like a dark brown shirt, red tie, and a brown plate carrier, which I think look really clean. Also black gloves. And his headgear is slightly different than his default. Typically he wears a headset. His hair is a little more slick back. This headgear, he doesn't have his earmuffs on or his headset on. He's got this earpiece in instead. The colors don't match perfectly, the like orange here, but I think it's small enough to, you don't even notice it when you're playing. This headgear is called Mission Blacksmith. This is what it looks like in full. I really like the sort of more scruffy hair that he has going on here. The weapon skin we went with is the Velveteen weapon skin, and the Wooden Flow attachment skin. It's kind of hard to tell on his shotgun. There we go. This is what it looks like on his MPX, the Velveteen weapon skin and the Wooden Flow attachment skin. It's just, we're matching the browns and the blacks, or the dark colors that he's got going on. And I think this is a pretty clean set. Very, very flashy, or sorry, not flashy, very classy. Very classy. Next, we've got Goyo. The uniform here is called Traditional Herdsman. I actually had trouble finding a cool uniform for Goyo, and I got this one because it was pretty textured and I thought it looked interesting. Like of the ones available in the R6 marketplace that were affordable price, this one stood out to me to be one that looked pretty cool. And I'm just rocking his default headgear actually. He has a couple hats that you can get on the R6 marketplace, but they were either too expensive or too bulky, and I didn't really like the way that they looked. So I'm just going with his default. His weapon skin here is the first class burglary weapon skin and attachment skin. So it's just the first class burglary set. The whites and the accents of gold I think matches the like off-white and yellow in his uniform pretty nicely. And there's grays in his bandana that he's wearing around his neck, as well as the weapon skin. I think it's all tied together pretty nicely. Not a perfect match, but pretty close. I do like this skin of the ones that Goyo has available to him. Next up, we have Wamai. So this is what his default uniform looks like. I don't really know what's going on. I guess he's like a scuba diver or something. Here we have like replaced the scuba diving gear with like very skinny jeans, like a sweater and a brown little magazine carrier. We'll do a little 360 here. This is called the Super Agent skin. For some reason, you still got the flippers on his side. His headgear that I've got is the multispectral glasses, and I think that honestly, I thought they looked kind of weird at first, but the longer I look at it, I do think that this skin goes really well with the uniform that he's wearing. So this is the kit in full. The weapon skin is the Penumbra Cells weapon skin that I always have trouble pronouncing, and the World Class Apparatus attachment skin. You see his goggles are green, or like glasses. There's like 3 little green dots on his black weapon skin, and I think that was like the icing on the cake when deciding what weapon skin to choose for him. I wanted a dark weapon skin, but when I saw the green goggles and the green on the weapon skin, I was like, oh yeah, this is perfect. So yeah, there's Wamai. Next up, we have Oryx. The uniform here, I think it's called Argonaut. It's just like this coral, like reefy sort of skin. It looks like he's got starfish just like splattered here and there. Summery, water, reef kind of vibes going on here. Also, he's got some like gold accents on his arms, on his neck. The headgear that he's got on is called Champion Leaves. Pretty sure that this is the corresponding set to the uniform. Doesn't really change the way his head looks, but it does give him those like gold leafy accents. The weapon skin I chose here is the Superstorm weapon skin to go with his uniform, and the Lifeblood Flower attachment skin to go with the gold accents on his arms and on his head. And I think it ends up coming together pretty nicely. I think this one's cool. Next up, we have Melusi. This is pretty much a recolor for default skin, but it is very dramatically different because she's wearing like reflective gold leaves. This is what her normal uniform looks like. It's very matte, very camouflageable, which is the point. This is very exotic and very vibrant, and gold is my favorite color. So when I saw this, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get that 100%. This is called the Gold Leaf uniform, and this is the corresponding headgear, the Gold Leaf headgear. She's got like gold little drops coming out of her eyes, slightly gold lipstick on, and she's got very fluffy hair with gold little bits in the hair as well, which I think is dope. So with an all gold skin like this, I thought naturally I would give her the gold weapon skin, and I believe I have the Lifeblood Flower attachment skin equipped on here, but her shotgun isn't doing a good job of showing that. But yeah, it's just all gold, and I think it's super clean. Next up, we have Aruni. So Aruni doesn't have a lot of options in the R6 marketplace right now. This one was probably the coolest one that I saw. Pretty typical. It's like very similar to her default uniform, which looks something like this. Actually, this is her default. Sorry, this is her default uniform. So it's pretty much identical. It just has some like blue accents here and there. The uniform is called Nighthaven Standard, and the headgear I went with is the electronic bypass because it changes her hairstyle. This is typically what she looks like. She's got her hair kind of off to one side, a little flower over her ear, and her hair tucked in behind her ear on this side. So here we have a little ponytail action. Her hair is like off to the side. It's very out of the way, and sort of like cyberpunky kind of things going on behind her head here, which I think looks pretty cool. The weapon skin I went with here is the Azure Ward weapon skin and the Azure Ward attachment skin. Just because of the blue and white kind of accents going on. And the blues aren't the same color, but it's pretty close, and I think this one looks cool. Next up is Thunderbird. So I really struggled with Thunderbird, actually. I do like the way that she turned out, but it's really not my favorite set, to be honest. This is called the Gale Rider uniform, and this is the freewheeling pilot headgear. When I was getting a headgear for her, I absolutely needed to get rid of this helmet. I cannot stand the way this helmet looks. Like, why are you wearing a pilot helmet indoors? I've always thought that that was weird. She's also got like a shark tooth hanging off the side, which is odd. This is her default headgear, and this is the one that I chose for her. It just minimizes her head profile a little bit, which I like a lot. Gives her a little ponytail. Keeps like whatever these little stripes are underneath her chin. I don't know what that's all about. Maybe that's just like a tattoo or something. So this is what she ends up looking like. The weapon skin I went with is the Saber Carve weapon skin and the Wisdom and the Hospitality attachment skin. There really aren't any gold accents on her except maybe like right here above her waist area. But I think like the hodgepodge of different textures on her jacket and her pants kind of complement the hodgepodge of different colors on the weapon skin. And I mean, I don't know. I think it kind of goes together. Nothing crazy. I could probably go with like a black skin here if I wanted to. Yeah, I mean, there's Thunderbird. Next up is Thorn. So this is technically a recolor of her default skin, except it's got like way more texture on it and is supposed to simulate like flesh. It's pretty gross. This is called the Gut Churner uniform. She's got like IVs in her arms, and like looks like she's got skin like just barely hanging on, and her muscles are visible, which is very, very crazy looking in my opinion. This is the corresponding headgear for it. This is the Ghoulish Strength headgear. She's got a 20-pound weight in her jaw, and she's got one eye in functional order at the moment. Also, her beret looks like it's partially got like skin on it. I don't really know what's going on, but it's also pretty creepy. We went with the Ruby weapon skin, and I believe the World-Class Apparatus attachment skin. I don't have any attachments on the shotgun, but that's the one I would go with. And this is just to complement all the reds in the uniform. So yeah, there's Thorn. Coming to the end of our list here, we have Azami. This is another instance of an operator just not having a lot of options. So I chose one that I thought looked really cool, and this was the Viper Strike Standard. This is a like gold and like dark green uniform skin. Also, notice the snake coming like off the side of her uniform here. That's important for the weapon skin that I chose. The headgear I chose is the Sakura Petal headgear. It's very similar to her default, and honestly, you can probably run either of these. But I thought the gold here was pretty cool, and it does change her face shape a little bit, so I chose that. The weapon skin I chose is the Wisdom and Hospitality weapon skin and the Wisdom and Hospitality attachment skin. This is because there are like gold accents, just like her uniform, and there is like a cyan snake, just like there is in her uniform. Of course, the uniform snake is black. It's almost like it kind of comes out of her uniform into the skin, and I think it looks really cool. Next up, we've got Solus. There are not a lot of options for her in the R6 marketplace, and I honestly thought the default uniform that she has looks pretty good. And there's two options for headgear. There's one that removes the helmet called the Ghost Eyes Standard, which I do like because it changes the profile of the operator pretty significantly. But the one that I ended up choosing was just a recolor of her helmet, which is called the Oshray Resolution, I believe is how you say that. And I chose that color helmet because the weapon skin that I chose for her is the Obsidian weapon skin and the Wings of Paradise attachment skin. Obsidian because most of her uniform is a dark and black color, so I went with the dark and black weapon skin, and the attachment skin is gold because whenever she turns on her glasses, they're a bright yellow. Also, I think the gold in the attachment skin matches the helmet color pretty nicely, so that is my combo for Solus. Next up, we've got Fenrir. Again, there were not many options for Fenrir because he's pretty new as an operator. This one is called the End Time Beast. It sort of barely changes the colors. This is his default uniform. It's pretty tame. It's like purple and like light green. So this makes it more like brown, dark green, and like has accents of purple instead. The headgear I went with is the Shade of Night because it changes the actual hairstyle of him. He's got this like ponytail in the back, shaved head, and like weird strands in the front. Like I think those are like signature for him to have it in the front like that. So this is the full set right here. As far as the weapon skin that we chose for him, we did the Velveteen weapon skin with the Velveteen attachment skin on top. This is to match the like dark grays and the browns in his uniform, and I think it ties it in nicely. Finally, we have Tubarao, I believe is how you say that. Maybe I'm butchering that too, but who knows. Another instance of an operator not really having a lot of options, but this one is the frozen operator skin. This just makes him like look sort of light bluish, and I went with the deep freeze headgear because it kind of matches the sort of blue aesthetic he's got going on with his uniform right now. The weapon skin I chose for him is the Superstorm weapon skin and the Superstorm attachment skin. This is just because we're going with the blue and like light blue cosmetic action going on, and I think the weapon skin ties it in nicely. There were not like any good options in my opinion. None of them stuck out to me as like cool looking, so I just went with this one. Then of course finally we have Scopos. There I have no uniforms for Scopos, and also he has very, I guess she has very limited options as far as like what gun cosmetics you can put on, so I'm a little bit stuck on that. But yeah, that is my entire roster of operators and the operator cosmetics that I have for each one of them. That took forever. I did not realize it was going to take 2 hours for me to record this. Let me know if you guys liked any of the combinations that I had, or if you guys maybe even rock some of the same ones. Let me know if you guys would have changed anything, and honestly, just give me your feedback. I'm very open to hear what you guys thought about this video. This one took forever to make, and I apologize for taking forever to upload as well. I am in my finals week now, so after this video goes up, I'll probably have to wait like a week or two before I can even post again, because I'll be sort of doubling down on the study grind. But if you did stick to the end, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate your time as always. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions for any future videos, and until the next one, I'll see you guys later.